Welcome everybody to the Carnivore Experience. My name is Bill.
And I'm Wendy.
And today we are going to share our 15-month update with you. Part of this 15-month update is to show, and then we're going to start out, where we started, where we're at today. We're going to talk a little bit about our goals, where we're hoping to go, and we're going to share some of the experiences we've had trying to reintegrate a few things back into this way of eating. So, Wendy?
Well, first I'd like to tell you a little bit about an experiment that I just did. I typically will make what's called a challah bread on Fridays, and we haven't made it now for quite a while. And I did Friday night. I made us a challah bread, and we were trying to take note as to what kind of effects we have from eating bread, and it didn't really affect our weight. I think, if anything, I retained more water. So by the time I got up in the morning, I was about 2 pounds heavier, which is typical water gain. It's no big deal. Right. But the significant thing that I noticed was that when I went to take my shirt off, I was so stiff in my joints, my shoulder joints, and there was pain. And I literally had to take my shirt from one side and pull it up before I could get it with my other arm. And that was when I realized that this is the effect that we're having from bread.
And
so,
yeah, and let me expound on that a little bit more too. The size of this challah bread, it's about yay big, and it's braided, and it's a beautiful golden brown.
We'll share a picture.
Yeah, we'll share a picture of it. And understand, we're carnivore, well, dirty carnivore, and all we did is take a little piece of it. We're talking a tiny little piece, slathered it up with butter.
A lot.
Warmed it up and ate that. And yes, reintegrating a little bit of bread. Oh my gosh, it tasted wonderful. But like Wendy said, the inflammation or the soreness in my joints, just having that extra gluten and those carbs really made a difference. After that was really, we hadn't had it in quite some time.
No, we hadn't. And really, the other recipes that I've used called for honey in the recipe. And this one called for, well, I think I was putting a quarter cup or half a cup of honey into the bread recipe. This one called for only a tablespoon and a half of sugar. So I did the tablespoon and a half of sugar in the bread, but then the coating on the top was an egg wash that called for, again, sweetener. And I wasn't willing to sacrifice, because once you start with the sweeteners, the sweet cravings, they take over. And you're probably going to hear me say this again because it's going to go into another video. But there was a viewer of ours that had suggested on one of our videos, don't eat any sweeteners. And he would be correct, because if you don't have, or we don't have that control over the sweets, they control us, then the worst thing you can do for yourself on carnivore is to allow yourself any sweetener of any kind in anything. The goal is to get rid of it so that you can gain that power back of controlling the sugar. So,
and it's really important thinking about that when you're starting this. You're going to go through a 2-3 week transition when you're getting away from sweets. You don't even want to think about an artificial sweetener like stevia or monk fruit or anything, because it's gonna make your brain release those endorphins that it likes, rewarding you for that sweetness. You really need to stay true to staying away from any artificial sweeteners, sugars, or anything until you've got yourself firmly established in this. I don't think we touched much in the way of sugar for at least 6-8 months after we started carnivore.
Yeah, we were kind of afraid. Well, we did in the fat bombs, but that doing the fat bombs was what told us that we were struggling with the sugar addiction. So in order to get rid of that, we had to cancel out, and we did. And it only took like 2 weeks. 2 weeks was actually the point where we actually noticed that, oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks and I haven't had a sugar craving.
Right.
So it goes away rather quickly. But another discovery that we're making is that we thought we were emotional eaters. I don't think there is really such a thing anymore. I don't think it's about emotional eating. I think what it is food addiction.
Right.
And I think it's just like heroin. I think it's just like crack, whatever you want to call it. But I'm really starting to believe that emotional eating can be, it's nothing more than an addiction to food. So,
And we're definitely learning that, because don't think that, even at 15 months into this journey that we're immune to getting cravings for things and everything.
yeah.
We went out the other day and I saw somebody wolfing down a really good looking piece of caramel cheesecake. And as everybody knows, that's my weakness. And it was like, oh, one piece can't hurt, can it? And I think I even will speak for Wendy when I say our biggest concern is, if we even go back a little bit, if we even step back a little bit, falling off the wagon completely and then going back to the way we were. And at this age, we've universally agreed we will never go back to where we were. So
have we though?
Yes.
Because honestly, he is a little bit more afraid of cheating than I am.
Yeah, every time you cheat, you lose weight. That's what's funny about it.
So I'm not afraid of it, but
Right.
at the same time, I'm making discoveries about myself where I can finally establish what it is I can and cannot do.
Right.
There are rules that cannot be broken here. And I'm starting to decide that, well, as long as I have control over the sugar, then I'm okay with it. But if it makes me go off the deep end, I'm going right to the lion diet. Meat, sugar, water. That's all I can have. Call it a punishment, whatever. Cleaning out my system and making sure that I regain the control over the sugar. And it's just like smoking. We're ex-smokers. We did that whole thing. And it was an addiction. And especially for me, like he was able to give that up a lot quicker than I was and a lot easier without, the attitude. But, some people can go back and have a cigarette and then they can quit just like that. And as long as you have that control,
Right.
then you've learned that you're good where food is concerned. So
The other thing we tried a little earlier is we've gotten and had some specialty coffees. We go out to a coffee shop here and there, and I typically do heavy cream in my coffee, and I'll take and just have that in regular black coffee. And Wendy will do a chai
tea latte. That is my absolute favorite. And going to Starbucks, if we go to Starbucks, we usually like to go to the little guys first. But if we go to Starbucks, I get the chai tea latte, and I suffered.
Well, and what ended up happening is it's fine with the coffee and the heavy cream. For me, they'll froth it and everything, but we went down to Costco down in Madison, and there was a coffee truck out in the parking lot, and we both decided to go to this coffee truck.
It was cold out.
Yes, and they had those coffee machines in there that they didn't actually brew the coffee. You basically put a cup under it, and you push a button in it, and it has all the pre-mixed stuff in there.
Sugar mix.
Sugar, 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 and more sugar in there. If it tastes really good, there's a lot of sugar in it. But it didn't take 45 minutes after I drank that cup. And
You suffered.
I suffered bad. My stomach and gut said, pull the car over at the soonest convenience, because we don't like this. And let me tell you, never again will I do that.
Yeah.
So when they give you the warnings that when you do the carnivore way of eating, that it going backwards on it, you will know your body's going to tell you, well, I'll let that pass, or it'll say, nope, you need to hit the bathroom right now. So,
and ultimately, so that's how it affected him, but it affected me by weight gain. I had gained, it was 3 pounds. It was 3 pounds in water weight. Now this was actually because I cheated a lot that week. I had like 3 lattes in 1 week, chai tea latte, not all from Starbucks though. And because of that, I actually gained weight. I gained 1.5 pounds because of those 3 chai tea lattes that week.
right.
So now I know if I'm going to cheat, maybe one, every other week, or even one a month, because we don't normally do that. But it's just kind of nice to treat yourself once in a while.
Right.
And we don't want to be all rigid.
And part of the reason that you're getting a 15-month update is because, to be quite honest, I think I can speak for both of us that from month 13 and 14, we were kind of stalled out. We
Yeah.
really weren't moving on the scale at all, so there wasn't much to report, and we really didn't add anything back that would have affected that. And you're going to find in this journey, you're going to hit stalls, and those stalls, you want to stay the course, they can last 2-3 months.
But I don't even think we were on a stall.
No, possibly not. But
Because we're seeing our
Yeah.
clothes are getting loose, but we're staying the same.
that brings up your body recomposition. And this body recomposition is something that's going to be happening that you're going to notice, but the scale's not going to show it.
Right.
So,
That's the weird part about this.
exactly.
And it's one thing to understand too, because everybody gets so fixated on the number, and sometimes that number doesn't move, but your number in your clothing size does. So, and you can stay there for months at a time. Like I've said before in other videos, I think we give up on dieting too quickly.
Right.
And as long as we're eliminating the right foods, all the wrong foods, you're on the right path. It's going to move. Things are going to get better. You're going to get healthier. You're going to lose weight. Your body's going to become stronger and firmer. And it takes time. And that's what we're learning, is that if we just stay focused on how we're nurturing our bodies every day, that the reward is there.
Right. No, for sure. And, we haven't really even gone out to eat that much. We did go out to Buffalo Wild Wings and got our wings one time. One thing we have up here in Wisconsin is we have what's called Milwaukee Burger. And we did stop up in Wausau, Wisconsin at the Milwaukee Burger up there. And I'll put a picture up of what it looks like when you do the Milwaukee Burger Challenge. And essentially we did that. It's you get 8 half-pound burgers for $25. And if you actually do the challenge and you can eat it all, and they give you cheese curds and all this other stuff too, then they will give you a t-shirt. But we just get the 8 burger patties. Well, I learned something with that too. They cook them in a vegetable oil. And I had 4 of those patties. And let me tell you, seed oils,
Feel good.
when they tell you don't do seed oils on carnivore,
Don't do seed
same
oils.
things. For me, it was inflammation. My feet swelled up, my fingers and joints in my hands swelled up, my ring became really tight. So your body is really going to be in tune to the junk stuff that you put back into it.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
well, we've kind of, at the 15-month update, we wanted to share back again where we started, and then we're going to talk about where we've gotten to on month 15. So,
Yeah,
go ahead.
sorry, got off track there.
Yep.
Yeah, so my little bird experiment. But since we've been here last, I've lost 2 more pounds. I did take off that 1.5 pounds rather quickly, actually. And the body recomposition is definitely changing. This is a top that I had bought maybe a month ago, and it fit really good. And now it was too loose. I put it on and it fell off my shoulders. So even though my scale wasn't saying much, my clothes are saying a lot.
Right.
So that's where you're going to see it after a while. Like, we really ditched the weight fairly fast in the beginning, but the more weight you lose, the slower it comes off. It's realistic. It's realistic, and it's really okay. You just got to get it okay up here. So yeah, I've been noticing my clothes are loosening up. And then I was going to give you the update on my inches lost. This is pretty incredible. I forgot to do the math though, so help me do the math. But my arms starting out, and this was January of 2023 when we started, the end of January. So actually we can call this February.
6 inches.
My arms, yeah, I lost 6 inches in my arms. My chest, I lost 10 inches. My waist, I've lost 12 inches. Blow me
It's crazy.
away. My hips, I've lost 10 inches. And my thighs, I've lost 9 inches. So it's working
Again,
really well.
looking at where we started, and I'll put that one of those pictures we absolutely hate up there for reference, but looking where we started to where we are now, I see her all the time and I can't believe how skinny she's gotten considering where we started. So
A way smaller frame than I ever thought I had,
you bet.
especially with a father whose nickname is Bear.
Yeah. So going on to mine, back when we started this, I started out at 306 pounds. My goal in 1 year was to get down to 225 pounds, and I managed to get to 225 in exactly 364 days. 1 day early from the 1 year mark, I made it to 225 from 306. So what I want to get to is what's called a maintenance weight or a balance weight, where I can take and try some different things to see how it affects me. So my goal is to get to 215 pounds, and that's where I can go down or up a little bit one way or the other. And like Wendy, I am now down to 222.8 pounds from 225. Like I said, I had a little bit of a stall or something that was keeping it on. So, we're down, what? That's 2.3 or
I'm down.
it's 2 point something pounds that I've lost as well, just in the month of March that we've done this. So my numbers back when we started as well, my neck was 19 and a half inches wide. And since then it has dropped down to 17 inches. My waist was
For a
total of 2 inches lost in my neck. At my worst, my waist was 48 inches, and I've dropped that down now to 38 inches, but I'm in a size 34 pants. My hips were 48 inches as well, and those are down now to 41.
inches.
Yep, I measured my calves back then, and my calves were pretty big. They were 19 inches, a lot of flab on them. Now they're down to 15 inches, and they're very muscular. You don't see any fat in my calves at all anymore. And then the flab that was hanging on my arms, I had my arms around, were 15 and a half to 16 inches. And now those are down to 13 inches. So 2 to 2.5 inches in my arms. So transformation, listen, it's not going to happen overnight. If you think about how you got there, you didn't get there overnight. You didn't get there in a month. I see people all the time, we're talking, they're like, I can't believe how heavy I've gotten. Wendy and I both know exactly how we got this heavy, and we had a good time doing it in Wisconsin, having some beers and eating lots of pizza and fish fries. So
yeah, it's kind of like, hi, my name is Wendy, and I'm addicted to food.
yes,
Well, not anymore.
correct. So no, it's been an amazing transformation, and what we're going to do is every month we're going to tell you about our goals, where we got from the month previous, and then we're going to tell you what we've reintroduced and let you know how that goes when you're getting close to or have achieved your goal weight and you're too afraid to take that jump. I've got a brand new full bag of sweet onions sitting on the counter, and one of the things I miss with hamburgers and meatloaf is putting good fresh onion in there. So we're going to try one, cut it up small, and we'll report back on how that went.
Yep. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
You guys, we really do appreciate it. We're getting some amazing comments in there. And like Wendy just said, like and subscribe, and you can be sure to see a bunch more content coming.
Yep.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Yep.